Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. What we're doing here should have been a live stream. It was not. It's just a regular old recording.
It feels bizarre. This is the second week we've not been able to do a live stream, and it does not feel right.
I know. And we have perfectly good reasons. Not because we've been put in the corner by YouTube, so yay.
Yeah.
But we are going to treat this recording as if we were live streaming, so it's not polished or perfect. Also, with the week that we've been having, that's why I'm not wearing makeup. I literally cannot be bothered. Our OG folks are probably going, where are your shirts from? We have no links to our shirts this week. We went with what was comfy.
Yep.
Because we're hanging on by a thread right this second. I feel like we're sliding into this recording, and there's skid marks on the road, and there's smoke, and our wheels are burning, but we managed to sit down to do this, so we're gonna do it, but we're not gonna. We're gonna try in terms of let's have a good conversation.
Sure.
But what we look like, we're not worried about it this week. We'll worry about it next time.
You're lucky we're here.
We will talk about why that is at the end in the bonus section. But what we are talking about this week is actually a topic idea of yours.
Correct.
Just this idea of asking yourself when you're trying to get involved with kink and you're looking for a partner on some level, what do you bring to the table? And we're going to talk about that concept and our thoughts on it and all that good stuff in this week's episode, which is coming out for y'all a week later than it originally aired. So there will be some time traveler things going on with in terms of what we talk about and dates we mention, and we know, and we're sorry, and it's been chaotic around here. We have very good reasons. If you want to know what those reasons are, just skip ahead to the bonus section.
Yeah.
There are timestamps below, I promise. Anyway, so if I have not already scared you off, we hope you'll give us a thumbs up if you enjoy this video. If you do like it and you like what you see all over our channel, we hope you'll consider subscribing.
And once you subscribe, ring that notification bell so you get updates of new content.
Do what Daddy says. And if you like this enough to want like some extra content and access to a Discord server and to kind of virtually hang out with us in some small ways more than you can here on YouTube, then you can join us on Patreon. Link down below in the description box. It's always there. Ta-da! Okay. So as if this were a live stream while we record our weekly podcast, I'm going to wait for you to hit the magic button. Okay. And then we will get into things.
I will hit the magic button and we will carry on our merry way.
Or our magic way.
Yeah.
So before we get started, quick announcement. A big, huge OMG kinky thanks to Beducated for sponsoring the show. For another week. Yeah. Thank you, Beducated. Beducated is an online learning platform similar to others that you have totally heard of before on other vanilla channels, but it is devoted to sex and relationships, and yes, even kink. We've talked about Beducated before.
We have.
The platform is filled with classes. They add new classes all the time. The classes are primarily video-based, but there'll be some text. There'll be, other things. There'll be homework sometimes, but it's all like going at your own pace. So you pick a class that you're like, yes, this is a thing I would like to know about to learn about sex, improve my relationship, learn a little bit more about kink kind of stuff. And then you pick it and then you take your time going through it at your own pace. You can do it with your partner or you can do it alone, whether you're single or not. If you use our link in the places, show notes for podcast listeners, description box on YouTube, use that link and use our code LOVING, LOVING, you will get access to Beducated for $9.99 a month. That's a really big discount off of their normal price. And you can cancel at any time, so you're not locked in forever. And you'll get that discount every month you're a member. So it's not like you get that discount on the first month and then they jack up the price. No. You don't have to worry about that. And I was looking at, we sometimes talk about individual classes. I was like, let's kind of catalog some stuff here. And I went through and I was like, okay, we don't talk about sex enough. Let's talk what kind of sex classes we got. And here's a list of things that you might be like, I wonder how to do that. And you can learn on Beducated. There's pegging, There's fisting, and I think fisting might be a relatively new one because I had not noticed that one before. There is strap-on sex, and for anybody who goes, but isn't that pegging? No.
Not necessarily.
Strap-on sex is for more than dildos up cis guys' butts. Okay, just saying. There's one that really like made me go, okay. That's dirty talk. I'll tell you why that made me go, okay, in a second. There's one on play fighting / wrestling in kind of a sexy kind of way, which immediately made me think about Primal. But I don't think they're talking about Primal, but that's what came to mind.
Yeah.
If you want to incorporate some wrestling around in your Primal play, that might be a good course just to kind of learn some of the dynamics of, okay, we're going to throw down while we're doing this. There's one on fingering. So if you're like, I need to up my fingering game, or I've never actually fingered anybody in my life. Like if I had a partner who was like, I would like you to finger me, I'd be like, hold please. I've never done that to anybody but myself. Let me go take this class. There's one on lap dances.
Ooh.
I know, like, not gonna lie, everybody's like, I know there are people like, but lap dances are whatever. Of course, anybody can lap dance. No, some of us are awkward people, and I am one of them. And if you were like, give me a lap dance, I'd be like, oh, fuck. Can I just sit on your lap and grind? Does that count? That's what I know how to do. So no, I could go take this class. But no, the dirty talk one made me go, what? Here's why. One, I do not like dirty talk. It's the opposite of a fetish for me, the opposite of a kink. It is a little bit of a revulsion. I do not like to hear dirty talk. But part of my dislike of dirty talk is that I don't know what to say. I don't know how to do it. And I think a lot of people will say no to dirty talk, not because they're like me and like, ew, stop, but because they're like, I don't know what the hell to say. There's a class. There's one of the modules is like dealing with like your aversions and your fears and anxieties about it. There's a section where they actually give you ideas of things to say. Like if you're over here going, I'd love to dirty talk, but what do I say other than how did I used to text you when we would dirty talk, we would sext when we were long distance? You would say something like really elaborate and like what you were going to do. And I'd go,
yeah, okay.
I tried to get into it, but I didn't know how to respond. There were a lot of emojis, really. Like, we didn't have then as many good emojis as we do now, but I made use of those emojis because I didn't know what to say. So if there are like some not major things that you absolutely have to have a sexual successful relationship, but little things that you're like, I'd like to know how to do that. Educated probably has a class, is all I'm saying. So if you would like to get sex educated for not too much money, use our link in the places. Use code LOVING. You'll get it for $9.99 a month. Use it as long as you need it. And when you're like, yeah, I'm good, I don't need it anymore, then you don't have to commit to anything except maybe, your own sexual pleasure and or a partner. That's all I'm saying.
Well, now hearing some of this, I think you may have a homework assignment coming up.
Do I look like I have time for a homework assignment? We'll talk about that later. All I would like to say is thank you, Educated, for sponsoring us. We really appreciate your support. Okay, so before we get into the episode and recording / all the things we're doing here, I need you to know that if I jump up and I start screaming, it's because there is another, this time actual bug, in this office that came in through that damn back door that's behind the camera that nobody can ever see. And it came in on JB's watch and it scurried before he could get the bug spray out and zap it. And I'm just waiting for the thing to come out. And it is a bug I dislike so much, I don't even like to say the name. And if I see it, or if it touches me, or if it gets on my chair, or if it gets on this table, I will start screaming and running simultaneously. So, and we might not cut it out because, we're not really professionals around here. So I want everybody to be warned.
All I will say in my defense is I did try to get it. Lola was laying on the floor right at the door, which was why I was opening the door to begin with. The bug scurried right under the dog. And she was just like, oh, something moved. Okay.
We're not naming this one, okay? This is not a spider like the previous, now
like
deceased Boris, okay? Boris is deceased. Rest in peace, Boris. I don't care, but still, others mine. This is a bug I disdain. So oh, God, no. We're not naming it.
Yeah.
No. It's creepy crawly. We not. So for anybody who's like, what's that noise? The fan's going on.
Yeah.
There will be a hum in the background now. So the topic for today is one you suggested. I'm so proud of you.
Oh my.
I know. It's not, you have ideas. You just don't think in terms of what are we going to talk about the way that I do.
True.
So when you're like, hey, let's talk about this, I'm like, let's write this shit down because we're totally talking about this.
I show up, notice it down and I go through and make sure all the tech is working.
Look, you add to every single conversation we have when I remember to let you speak, okay? But let us be real. One of us is the idea factory.
Yes.
And so we celebrate when you have ideas and in hopes that we'll encourage you so that when you have other ideas, we can do those too.
There you go.
So you're the one that said, let's talk about this. What is it about this idea of bringing something to the table? What is it that's on your mind about that?
I think this kind of goes with a lot of different things. Whether it's just a regular relationship to kink or, anything like that. What do you bring to the table? What are the things that you have to offer?
What are you adding to the relationship or the situation? Or whatever?
And I know that sounds a bit clinical to a certain extent, but when you think about it, it really does make a lot of sense. Because one of the things that brought this about, and kind of mentioned this in passing, and it's happened to me as well. Hear so many people say, my gosh, I get all these messages. I get all these people approaching me, and they think I'm some kind of kink dispenser.
Sure.
And I'm just supposed to dole this out, like,
right, like they have a shopping list and they're trying to check it off.
And I'm just supposed to dispense this on request. And, whether you're in a relationship, a 24/7 relationship with someone that you're with, or even if you're in a top and bottom that someone's just a play partner, it kind of comes down to what do each of you bring to the table? What makes it work? How does it click? So I think that's something that's kind of important that needs to be talked about. And I think it's also something that gives an individual kind of the opportunity to self-reflect on what it is they want themselves and what they can offer to somebody.
And I think that's important. And I think that there will be the perfectionists, overachievers, people who stress and worry about being good enough, who have some issues that you're working through, because aren't we all working through issues? And to those people, who I would categorize myself as one, this is not meant to add pressure or add a burden to you on that you're supposed to achieve the unachievable in some ideal. It's more about recognizing that it takes two or more, depending on your makeup, but at least two people to come together and make something successful. That is either a relationship and or just a scene. Whatever you're doing with another person, in this case in Power Exchange, you're both contributing to this. So what is it that you're bringing? And I think that some people you can take that in any direction you want. And I think that it's okay to take it in multiple directions, where for some people it's gonna be like, it's my skills. I'm a top in my local scene. And so I can do these skills well. This is what I'm bringing to the table. But it's also how you negotiate, how you make people feel, how much you're able to and willing to give to another person. Sometimes what you're bringing to the table does not mean that you're actually looking for some long-term love affair relationship. What you're bringing to the table is a set of skills and a willingness to try and, trying to achieve a mutual outcome between you and this other person. When you first proposed this, there was y'all, I spend way too much time on Instagram Reels. We already know this. And everything that's on Instagram Reels started on TikTok. I know, but I don't like TikTok, so whatever. There was a sound that went around on Instagram for a while that was this kind of question. The sound and the voice on the thing said, "What do I bring to the table? Honey, I am the table." And look, I can't even fully articulate what I think that means, but that's a fucking vibe. And I love that confidence. I kind of, in an abstract way, because I'm not looking for anything and I've got my man, I can kind of go, yeah, I am the fucking table. Now, if I was trying to meet people, I would not have that confidence. I can have that confidence because we're not sitting around the table trying to hash this out. So I think it's also perfectly acceptable if you're like, I'm not bringing the table. I am the fucking table. I'm everything. I kind of take that as I'm the complete package. I'm whole on my own. I can handle myself on my own. I've got this. The other thing that when we're talking about what somebody brings to the table that kind of came to my mind was this idea that what you bring to the table should enhance ultimately what you're trying to achieve. It should contribute. I think that there is often, at least in my experience, maybe I've had too many not great relationships in my life. I'm ending on a high note, just so everybody knows, but before
we both are.
Before you, it was touch and go. And if anybody looked over my past relationships, they'd be like, what the hell was wrong with you, Caleb? Were you like drinking? What was going on? But there are absolutely people who can't or don't want to add anything. They don't want to enhance anything. They don't want to contribute. They want you to bring everything and then use that to fill up their empty holes so that they don't have to do any of the work. And I think this manifests in a lot of different ways. In my experience, it was absolutely taking on responsibility for another person who could not take responsibility for themselves. And so, you know, when I think of this topic, I am thinking of people who are absolutely imperfect, that we all have things we could be working on for ourselves, things that, you know, we've gone through and we've got to deal with, things we've got to heal from, like things we've got to grow from. But this is about, okay, it's a level set playing field. You contribute this, I contribute that. Together, we make something interesting, good, amazing, better. Right. When it's together than maybe when it's apart.
And what I see as a big part of this is to say, not, you know, yes, a good part of it is for me to say, okay, well, what do I bring to the table? What do I, you know, bring out in this relationship?
What can I offer? What can I contribute?
Yeah. That makes me valuable. But at the same time, I also want to look on the other side of that. What is important to me that somebody gives me?
You said a word there that I want to dig in on a little bit. Valuable. And I think people mistake your value to a relationship as your self-worth, and your self-worth for yourself. Obviously, self-worth is the term, and your worth to the other person. And I think that that's something to pull out a little bit, because when I'm thinking of this topic and what I bring to the table, let me go down a laundry list for you. Well, I'm the submissive, so if we're in a power exchange, guess who's going to be on the bottom? That would be me. I am willing to communicate. I think that sometimes people think, oh, what do I bring to the table? Well, I better bring my communication skills. And if you've got communication skills, guess what? You are bringing that. Yeah. But they are skills that are learned over time. So you don't have to be perfect, fully formed as a kinkster to have value and bring that to the table. Right. Sometimes it's your willingness to learn. It's your curiosity. It's your openness, and the fact that you will maybe not be unafraid necessarily, but move forward even through nervousness and uncertainty. Not uncertainty in the other person, but in the, I'm about to do something I have never done before. Right. Can I do this? So I agree with you, and I know exactly what you're saying when we speak in terms of value, but I know there are enough people out there who would immediately internalize that as, oh, so what I have to do is go away and become the perfect, insert your kink style here, and then I will add something to the table, bring something to the table. And that's not true at all. That's not true at all.
You know, we talked about perfection recently, a few episodes back. And you know, one thing I wish I had added at the end of that episode that I think fits here with what you're saying, you know, do not strive for perfection.
You'll never achieve it.
You'll never achieve it. Strive for growth.
Yes, forward movement.
Yeah.
A little bit better than you used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not yesterday, maybe than you used to be a year ago, maybe in the last relationship, but forward progression.
Yeah.
Progression of some sort. Progression over perfection every damn time. And I think that, it's funny because I like this idea of having people look inward. What are words? I don't know. And think, what do I bring to the table? But as an anxious perfectionist, I know that too many people are not yet at a point where they can go, okay, this is about what I add and not about where I'm deficient. Now, that doesn't mean if you're thinking, what do I bring to the table? You should not be mindful of, and let's put air quotes around this because this is subjective, deficiencies. Where are you lacking? Where do you need more work? But see, sometimes in the right relationship, you're going to work on it with that person.
Exactly.
So the willingness to try new things, the willingness to, explore and expand your horizons a little bit, the willingness to get, one of the things that more people need to bring to the damn table is the willingness to do the hard shit. And what I mean by that is to have the hard conversations, to be vulnerable. Now, one thing that I think we absolutely have to mention is that, unfortunately, not everybody is worth sitting at the fucking table with. And we've all had bad relationships where we were with somebody or we're about to be with somebody who, was having one of those red flag fucking parades and the color guard was dressed head to toe in red behind them, right? Like, I know, I get y'all's emails. I know you're out there.
Yeah.
That you can, in all good faith, come to the table with your best qualities and your best attributes and all your willingness to try.
Yeah.
And if the person on the other end is either in it for themselves completely or just completely disingenuous and only saying the quote right things to get something that they want, no amount of good that you bring to the table will overcome that. Yeah. And you have to know that. And the hardest thing I think there is to learn when it comes to relationships is to honor that voice inside of you that goes, something doesn't seem right. I'm not sure this is worth my time. I don't feel good here. And be willing to go, okay, I hear that voice. Have that feeling, however it manifests for you. I'm outie. And sometimes it's a 20-year relationship and we wake up and we hear it, and that's harder to disentangle ourselves from. That's a whole other topic we could have a conversation about one day. But I'm talking about the people that you've been talking to for 5 minutes. And there are people who so desperately want the relationship to work that they will ignore that inner voice. They will ignore the signs. And you will bring your best to the table, and it can't ever be reciprocated. And the thing is that some people do not deserve to be at that table with you. And the best lesson I think you'll ever learn when it comes to relationships is to figure out who is worthy of that place across from you and that position with you.
And let me go into this a little bit. We've talked a fair amount about the S types in this.
Sure.
But, D types, this goes for you too. What do you bring to the table? In order to have a good, DS relationship, or even a play partners, or poly or anything like that you want, bring it. Respect. Build that trust. Okay? Honesty. Things like respecting boundaries and limits.
Respecting your own and the other person's.
Exactly. Because your boundaries and limits are just as important as the person that you're playing with or that you're in a relationship with. It's not about trying to find the loopholes no. If someone has a boundary of not being hugged, not being picked up, you know what? You respect that. You don't, they won't mind it in this case. Bullshit.
Right, because what you've just brought to the table is the idea that your partner now cannot trust you.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. I think, there's the thinking of it's almost like a pro-con list, but I don't think that's the right term for it. Because I think it's easy to think about what we know we do well that we bring to the table. Like, I know that I'm organized. I know that I want to serve. I know that I like impact play. I know that I have a certain level of communication skills. I know that I have tenacity, and I know that I have ambition. Like, I know what I'm bringing to the table, but I don't often think about where I falter, where I will fall down. Now, that doesn't mean that becomes a negative and kind of like a tally where that makes you lesser. It's sort of an understanding of, we're going to struggle here. Like, I know that when my mental health is bad, I'm not the most obedient person you'll ever meet. I'm not the most respectful person. I have the classic thing of, the more anxious I am, the angrier I can get. And that's hard when you're a submissive whose main rule is always be respectful, right? But understanding my own flaws, that is something to bring to the table, because if I understand some of my flaws, that can be a part of the conversation. Be like, I need you to know who you're dealing with. I know where I falter. I will never be perfect. I'm not here at this table telling you I'm going to be perfect about this. I am telling you that I recognize this in myself. And so I'm imagining an actual like table we're sitting at, because I think of this as part of the negotiation process just as much as it is the relationship building process. And if I have the knowledge of myself and the self-awareness to say, I know this is a thing I struggle with. Right. I need you to know that, 1, it's going to happen. 2, I know about it. 3, how are you going to handle it? Because what that means to me is, if I'm that self-aware, and look, it's been decades in the making to get to this level of self-awareness, and I promise you there are things I'm not aware of. It's a process for the rest of my life. But when you can show what you're self-aware about that's maybe in the negative, a few things happen. 1, that opens up an avenue of potential connection and communication with the right person. Right. 2, it lets a person know in the early days if they want to be part of this journey. Sure. Look, we've talked about this in the past. I know that I am a lot. Trademarked. Okay. I know who I am. I know that means I am absolutely wrong for lots of people. Yeah. I am okay with that. I would rather know that I am too much, because I am a lot, trademark, on the first conversation or the first date or in the first week, because I could tell you that. Like, I know who I am, and let me tell you to some extent who I am. You just go ahead and tell me that that's more than you want. And I'll be like, okay, have a good life. Let's move on with our day, right? Like, I think that knowing what you bring to the table does not always have to be, I know how to do this kiki thing, have this many years in the lifestyle, I've had this many relationships. Well, I know, that is a part of it, but it's not all of it. Right.
It's not a gilded cage, so to speak. We all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses. I am stubborn to a fault.
Oh my God. I love you so much. You're so right.
I can dig my heels in. You need to break out a jackhammer to get me to.
And you could be stubborn about a thing that's not worth being stubborn about. And you're like, and just sometimes God love you. I love you. I love you. And sometimes be wrong, just dead ass wrong, and is stubborn and wrong at the same time. And I'm over here going, okay. So the submissive part of me is like, I just want to be happy, and I want to, let me find the way to, and then the part of me that just has no patience for that is like, but you're wrong. And it's fun times. But yes, your stubbornness is a thing that will have to be dealt with if anybody gets into a relationship with you. It's just part of who you are.
My stubbornness in the right aspects can be a strength.
Absolutely. You say it all the time. Our strengths are our weaknesses.
Yes.
The things that allow us to do good things, to grow, to have great opportunities, whatever, are also the things on the other edge of that sword that we will fuck ourselves over with that.
Yes.
Which, you know what? I think that might be an interesting way, because I know there are people out there who focus on their weaknesses, and that's what they get preoccupied with. It tends to be
right. But how can that weakness be focused into a strength?
Right. Like, what if you flip that around and you go, oh, I'm so quiet, I never speak up. Yeah, but I'll bet you're a great listener.
Right.
I bet you're really observant. Right. I'm so socially awkward. Yeah, but I bet you have a way of making other socially awkward people feel comfortable. I bet you're fucking funny. Socially awkward people tend to be pretty fucking funny. Yeah, I think. And so if you're thinking, what do I bring to the DS table? What do I add? And all you're focusing on are your weaknesses. I think that would be a really good thought exercise to go, wait, how in other people, because what'll happen is in yourself, you won't see it as a strength. So pretend you're thinking of like a friend or somebody else or some made up person in your head. Okay, how would this be a strength for them? Because if we can depersonalize it, sometimes we're better able to actually think through it. Okay, so you depersonalize it, you go, what would that be a strength for someone else, not me, right? And then you identify the strength and you go, oh wait, if you think about it, you'll go, oh, I do that. I have that strength. But I think our weaknesses can be things that we bring to the table too. They're opportunities for growth.
Absolutely.
The thing that you and I fully believe in, I know it's not right or true for all power exchange relationships, but for many power exchange relationships, we grow together. We make each other better in some way. Like, just even if we're just as a support system. And so it's not that you have to come to this table we keep fucking talking about perfect and fully formed and have all of your shit together and everything figured out. Absolutely fucking not. You know what you need? You need a person on the other side of that fucking table who's like, yeah, I'm jacked up too, but why don't we try and like get through this together?
Yep.
Why don't we go on this journey together? Why don't we grow together? Why don't we learn together?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that works for us is that, I lead the relationship. I lead our relationship. But there are things in my life I just can't. Life knocks you down sometimes. And you know what? She's right there by my side, holding me up and keeping me going.
Keeping us, sometimes I'm pulling us forward, sometimes you're pulling us forward, and you know what, sometimes we're just treading water together, keeping each other's heads above water. We're not going forward, we're not going sideways, we're just standing, we're just still in one spot, but we're together supporting one another.
And then there are times I'm holding her up, keeping her going one step at a time.
And there are times when one of us is dragging the other one across the gravel
kicking and
by
screaming.
Our face. Like we're just, how did we get here? I don't know. And it's funny. It's not I think that there's necessarily like a specific skill that you somehow have to possess to be able to do that. I really think it's a lot of things, because everything's really nuanced and complex. But I think part of it is the willingness to. I can't always work hard for myself. I can't always keep going for myself, but I can keep going for somebody I care about. Right. You possess that as well. A lot of us do. I think most of us do. It's this desire to build the thing together, to maintain mutually, everybody involved has to be on this page. It does not work long term if only one person is doing this, but it's this willingness to carry as much load as I can handle when I can handle it in service of the relationship. Not because that's where we started from. To me, that's not where you should start in a relationship. That's not first day, first month, first year level stuff. This is, we went through the early stages of learning one another and learning to trust each other and learning each other's weaknesses and strengths and foibles and dealing with sticky things that we were like, how do we get through this on our own and together? And we did all of that while also being the people we are. Now, there's been a lot of growth and a lot of learning over all those years, so we're not exactly the people we were anymore. And all of that then comes together for us to go, because we are the people that we are, this is a good relationship. I am fulfilled by this. I am getting my needs met. Maybe not every moment of every day, but more often than not. I am satisfied and content, and I want this to keep going. So now, because we are the people we are, I will dig in and help this move forward.
Right.
So that means that sometimes I shoulder the load and the burden, and sometimes you do, and sometimes we move forward together. The past year has not felt like a forward movement kind of year.
No.
We've been treading water, but we've been doing it together.
Right.
And that's a thing that we know about relationships that we individually bring to the table. It also means, because we are self-aware enough, and I'm a huge fan of becoming self-aware in whatever method you need to do that, that if we were to negotiate another relationship with another person individually, we don't expect that person to do that day one, month one, year one, but we expect there's something, and I think sometimes it's overt and sometimes it's subtle, but there's like a sense you get of people who are also like that.
Right.
And I look for not somebody to do that on day one as a thing they bring to the table, but for me to have a sense that they are the type of person who would do that with the right people, with the right partner, in the right relationship. If this were to work, I think they would be that type of person.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that I'd be right. It doesn't mean, I think a lot of people form relationships and you think, this is a person who's going to have my back. This is a person who's going to support me. And then I was married to the time I was wrong about that. You can be very wrong about that.
Yeah.
But that is a thing. Like, if I'm looking for what does somebody bring to the table, it's giving me that sense that I will, at the right time, have that. Partly because I know I'm going to give that as well. I think this is pretty simple, kind of, and straightforward, but also super complex and nuanced, because what you bring to the table will not be the same thing that I bring to the table.
Correct.
What you bring to the table will not always be what somebody else wants from you or wants on the other side of that table, and that's an incompatibility thing, and
right.
Hopefully you find that out sooner rather than later, and then you do the brave thing of going, nice to know you, hope maybe we can be friendly or friends, and go find the person who's on the other side of that.
And I mean, the other side of that too is, you may be, as a big D type, if you're a owner who likes to micromanage, and you can bring those skills to the table for a DS relationship, okay, but somebody who's a little
and doesn't want to be micromanaged
and has a bit of sass, or can be a bit of a brat, those things are going to clash. So that's why I say you kind of have to know thyself, and understand what you want, and if you do that, things could change over time, because absolutely, just like with us, as I built trust with you, you were more open to try new and different things. Because, it comes down to, no matter what we do, there is always a risk associated with the things that we do.
Absolutely.
And that's why I say you bring to the table things like trust, honesty, respect, and the possibilities are endless.
Absolutely. And if you are willing to give what it is you want to receive in the trust and honesty and respect and vulnerability and caring, and whatever it is that you need and that you're looking for, and that will help you be, a happy, healthy kinkster and a happy, healthy power exchange relationship. You can't just demand those things from other people if you're not willing to give those things yourself. It is a give and take. We talked about that. God, I don't even remember how long ago it was when we talked about the imbalance between dom and sub, that we're not actually not equals. Another very nuanced conversation. And I think one of the hardest things for some people to realize is that it'll never be enough for you just to be the one to bring everything to the table. The other person has to bring something. And again, let me say one more time, it does not mean that you have to be fully formed and have all of these skills and have all of your shit together and be like, have zero problems. No. Okay.
Right.
Most of it is the willingness to try.
Right.
The willingness to step forward and kind of go, yeah, I'm willing to go down this path.
The willingness and openness to try different things, to learn different things, to be open to new experiences and even ideas. Mm-hmm. All right. The world of BDSM has grown and changed so much, and it's a wonderful thing.
And you say it all the time. We're lifelong learners.
Yeah.
And that's a human thing, not just a kink thing, because I'm 42-year-old grown-ass woman. I'm still learning shit about myself every day. I'm learning about how I relate to others every day. Hell, we're learning about how we handle things in our relationship every day.
Right.
And so if I waited until I had some weird checklist completely figured out before I could enter into a relationship, I would be miserable and alone. Mm-hmm. But I think there's the practical, I'm a sub, that's what I'm bringing to the table, so I'm looking for a dom, or I'm into impact play, so I too am looking for, there's the practical things of this is who I am, that's what you bring to the table. Here are my life experiences, that's what I bring to the table. Here's what I'm willing to do, here's what I will not accept, here's what I will not tolerate. Like, those are things that you bring to the table. And then you go into the willingness to learn, the willingness to try, the willingness to explore, the willingness to act on good faith and hope and assume and watch for the other person to do things on good faith. And that, it's kind of I wanted to say rings of hell, but that's not what I meant. There's a term and I can't think of what it is, but it's almost like hierarchy of needs, but not quite. Like, there's the big broad things, like what are your kinks? What are you looking for in terms of that? And then you focus in, narrow in on things that are extremely important, but they're a lot squishier, that aren't about just your kink, just your role. They're about how you relate to other people and what you need to feel content or complete or happy and healthy and whole. Like, and that's not just the surface level stuff. That's not just the big stuff, the showy stuff. And I think that thinking to yourself, what do I bring to the table, is a great exercise for people who struggle with recognizing or at least acknowledging what they do well. So if there are any doms out there who would like to assign this task to your sub, but thinking about what makes you good at something, what you do that you're proud of, who you are that you struggle to become, and you're like, yeah, I wish 20-year-old me could see me now, Right. Those are things that you are bringing to the table. Your experiences, good and bad. How you made it through those experiences, good and bad. The mistakes you made and the lessons you learned from those mistakes, you're bringing to the table. And it's a lot. It's a lot more than you think. And you bring more than you realize. Mm-hmm. Some of us need to bring more than we are. And probably the bigger thing is to get good at realizing who is trying to sit at your table and have a free lunch. Yeah. And isn't actually contributing.
And it's not enough to know what you bring to the table. Know what you want brought to your table.
What you're looking for.
What you're looking for.
Again, don't use it as a checklist. You have to get everything, because the universe will surprise your ass. Okay. I definitely had a clear picture in my mind of who my partner might eventually be. Thankfully,
I blew that the hell out of the water.
I went, fuck that plan. And because what you see before you would not exist today if I couldn't look beyond that. But I do think that's a good exercise too. Like,
yeah,
because what do they need to bring to the table? That can be a list of things you will not tolerate. things that you need from a partner that are not the kinks. And sometimes it is the kinks, right? So, yeah, I think it's one of those good questions to ask yourself. If you are miserable in your current relationship, man, that's a real good exercise. Yep. If you have had some failed relationships and you're like, what the fuck is going on around here? It's a good exercise for you too. And you know what? Even really content, happy, healthy, like long term, you've been together 50 years kind of things. Sure. That's a good conversation to have. And I think in those cases, it might be interesting to ask your partner, what is it that I bring to the table? What is it about me? And then do it for the other. You might be surprised. You never know. You never know. So I think that's all. Yeah. It was just a question and a concept, and it was JB's idea, and I love that. You should have more of those, please, and thank you. So yeah, we're done talking about that. Real quick before we go into the bonus section, just as an FYI, the week after this episode is recorded and goes out in podcast form, we will be on a scheduled break. I know somebody out there's like, haven't they been on breaks for about 85 years? Yes, I know. This one is planned, though, and we want to keep it. So we definitely will not have an episode the week after this one comes out. Correct. But we might have other stuff that ends up going live that we've pre-scheduled because we're behind on some other things. But if we're quiet, that's why we know. We just want to let everybody know that we know that we'll be quiet.
When we realized, the day before yesterday, that 2 or 3 days ago, the following week is going to be our technically scheduled quarterly break that we take. And we kind of looked at each other, and without even really talking about it, we were both in agreement that I think we need to keep the break.
Yeah, I actually think I may work on some stuff, but it won't be as intense. Right. Especially as this week has been. Yeah. As we'll discuss in the bonus section.
As we'll discuss. It's been a week. And, all right, so are we good?
I don't feel like I'm qualified to make that assessment. I'll let others decide.
All right. Well, then let's get on with it.
Okay.
Ready?
Keep it kinky, y'all. And we'll see at some point in the near future. We don't actually know when. Daddy.
Yes, baby girl.
I talk to the crickets.
You may talk to the crickets.
Okay, so podcast listeners, this won't mean anything to you because we are on track for you. Everything I just said is right. This episode will come out at some point on Friday at its normal time. I don't know, but on Friday. YouTube watchers,
things are a bit wonky there. Yes.
If all goes to plan, and I don't anticipate that anymore. I don't think there are plans that are capable of surviving anything anymore.
Too many times in the recent future, the universe has said,
"Fuck your
hold
plans."
my beer."
But if this video goes live when I think it will, you will actually perceive no break.
Right?
Because by the time this video is supposed to go live, I think, based on what I'm currently planning, because we're a week behind on fucking everything, we'll be almost into the new week when we'll be streaming on that Wednesday, assuming the universe allows us to.
Yeah.
The one thing I do want to say that sucks for anybody on YouTube, because you'll be getting the information a week late, hopefully, we are going live June 17th, Friday, June 17th, 9:30 p.m. Eastern.
For our hangout.
For our monthly hangout.
Yes. Actually, I'm really looking forward to that.
I kind of am too.
Just to kind of be and chill. This has been very weird the last 2 weeks. I miss it. It's funny.
Yes.
I miss the interaction with the live chat with the folks during the stream.
I feel like y'all on the podcast, I know I'm talking to y'all, but y'all can't talk back in real time. And so sometimes I forget I'm talking to a person. Whereas with the live stream, I can see them commenting back. There's a delay, but I can see them responding to a thing that hopefully I remember I said 5 minutes before. And I know, like, I'm speaking directly to somebody, and it's just, yeah. So for a recap, we did not have a live stream last week because you two put us in the corner. I complained about that in the last bonus section. Okay. This week, however, first of all, podcast listeners, I don't know that anybody actually pays attention to this. I started this literally back in 2015. I don't know why, and I don't know why I've never changed it. But I always, for whatever reason, and maybe not this week, I don't know, I always make the podcast go live, get published at just after midnight, our time zone. Which, for depending on where you live, is like happy surprise. You wake up in the morning and there's a podcast.
Ta-da, there we are.
Or if you're like Pacific, you're like, oh, I'm about to go to bed. There's a podcast. Like, you know, I don't know why I picked that time. I had a reason 100 million years ago. We are recording this so late compared to how we have been for the past few years.
Right.
That I'm like, is it going to go out at its normal time? I actually had to, because I am a weirdo about that stuff, I had to go, nobody gives a fuck if it doesn't go out at the exact same time it's been going out since 2015. And podcast listeners, if you're like, where the fuck was our mini-sode this week? Y'all, we literally, I mean, we didn't forget, and then we did forget, and then it didn't matter that we forgot, because when the fuck were we going to have time?
Yeah.
We have to, like, do a rundown of this week.
I know. Well, actually, this week started last week.
A big part of what we've been dealing with,
A big part of what we've been dealing with. What day was it? Thursday? Friday?
It was Thursday. It started Thursday.
Of last week.
And the mold that we found. That was Thursday.
Yeah. Growth. Apparently, unbeknownst to us, our AC system has been slowly dying.
And it's about 14 years old, so it's had a good run.
And, we discovered it in a big...
In a very sloppy, wet way.
In a very sloppy, wet... Oh my
foot
God.
On a wet piece of carpet, and just this... Anybody who has sensorial things, you know that my foot went up and like curled in on itself in disgust. Like, that was awful.
So, that was the beginning of it. Friday, we had somebody out here, looking at it, and they were just like, we're so sorry.
Your air conditioning is dying.
Yeah. And... You know, we talked and everything, and got sticker shock at the cost of a new system.
Because here's the thing. Mid-afternoon on Friday, they were looking at it. They came out the day after we called. Like, you called Thursday afternoon, like the moment we found it, because we saw it Thursday morning, I think. You called Thursday afternoon. They had somebody out there the very next day. Our AC was still working, so it wasn't like an emergency.
Right,
we were like, there's a problem, but we got cold air. They come out mid-afternoon on Friday. By late afternoon on Friday, we're financing a whole ass system for not a small house.
Right.
During a time of one of the worst inflation periods in how many freaking decades? Yeah. It ain't cheap to get a new system.
No.
But, and they were like, so we signed our life away.
Yeah.
And they're like, we can start Monday. We're like, no. You cannot.
We cannot, because Monday was the day that was scheduled for my mom's interment.
So, catch you up. She'd been cremated. The services were a few weeks ago due to a snafu, not of our making. Putting her urn in the niche at the place got delayed until this past Monday, June 13th. 2-hour drive. You were like, I want you to go with. I was like, okay, I moved the schedule. I had some appointments and stuff. I moved them all. And then because we don't like to leave the 12-year-old alone when we can't quickly get to him, and it was a whole day. We knew it was going to be a whole day adventure. We brought him with. So all day Monday, we left at what, 8 o'clock in the morning?
8 o'clock in the morning.
And then we got home at
6?
6 something?
Yeah.
All day. So it was not a work day for anybody.
No.
It was a day of travel. It was not too emotional. You know.
No, it wasn't.
I wanted to leave space for you to like feel big things, and I think
I felt more leading up to it.
Oh, you definitely did. You definitely did.
And I think I had built it up more in my mind than it was,
and you were annoyed that it had to happen and hadn't happened to the day of the service
when it was supposed to.
And I don't disagree with you. I was annoyed too.
But it went very well. It was emotional, but in a good way. It went well, and it turned out very nice.
It did, though. The things that were done, if you don't know much about that, because I didn't know what we ended up doing was even a thing you could do. I knew you could have, obviously know about cremation, and I know you then are in an urn, and I even knew you could put an urn in something at like a cemetery.
Right.
But the way this cemetery does it, and apparently a lot of them do now, I didn't know, was that the place where you can put an urn is actually glass and you can see in, and that allows families to also decorate it and put things that are special to about their loved one in there. So it's like showcases their personality.
Right.
And you and your sister did a great job. It fits your mom. Like, I'm looking like, that's your mom.
Right.
And I, who know I want to be cremated, but actually was like, just scatter my ashes somewhere. I was like, wait, do you mean I could have a purple urn with like either unicorns, mermaids, or butterflies on it? And then like some purple shit and maybe I need to tell the boys that's what I want, because I was like, but think of the decorating possibilities. And I'm such a control freak. I would probably have the items saved for them. This goes in the niche. Okay. I don't know. I'm hopefully not going to be in a position to have to deal with that for a very long time.
Right.
But so that was Monday, and Monday was a good day. We went back down to where we used to live, and we looked around, and we went to one of our favorite restaurants, and even the 12-year-old, who at first was not excited about going, was like, okay, this isn't so bad, and we made a day of it because we were going to be there anyway.
We kind of did a drive-by of our old condo, and the youngest wanted to see his old school that he went to down there. So we did kind of make a nice day of it.
And we did that thing that everybody does, or everybody I know does, when you go back to a place you used to live or you used to visit. Like, I don't remember that being there.
Right.
Wait, they tore that down. We've only been gone 3 years. It's not been that long. So that was a good day, but it was essentially a lost day. Everything we normally would have done on a Monday, gone. Tuesday, AC people come. Now, y'all, it is Florida in the summertime, and part of what they do with AC stuff is like attic stuff, and they got to like be around places. Well, they didn't show up to start working until 10 o'clock. I was like, isn't it going to be hot for y'all? They start doing our AC. Now it's got to get warm because now they've undone everything to redo it. And they start pulling out parts of ductwork that are accessible, and they're like, well, this is also a problem.
Yeah.
So by Tuesday evening, we had signed more of our life away to replace all the ductwork in the house.
The ductwork up there was original to the house.
84 is when
and
this house was built.
A lot of it had collapsed. It had holes in it.
It needed to be replaced.
It needed to be replaced.
It did.
So
they were coming Wednesday for that Wednesday when we normally live stream.
Yeah.
There were men tramping around in our attic, and we had no AC because the cold air that was flowing into the attic.
To keep them as cool as possible so they could work.
So you were trying to get some work done on Tuesday while they were doing the AC stuff at the back. I was trying to work. Plus there are appointments going on. There's been a lot of appointments for the kids lately, which is fine. And it's, one, getting steadily hotter. Two, every so often they need somebody. They have a question.
Right.
They got to let you know. They got to come in the house. They got whatever. And so I was up and down, up and down, up and down the whole time they were here. I was like, how am I going to get any work done? How am I going to get any work done? And then we decide, sure, not only will we replace the ductwork, they're like, we can come Wednesday. We're like, we will sacrifice live stream day because let's just get this all done in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
And so Wednesday we could never have recorded. One, it would have been too hot. Two, tramping above our heads. That was another day of up and down, up and down. They came on Wednesday and didn't start until 9, which was earlier than the day before. But this is Florida in summer, and those guys spent the entire day in our attic.
Plus, it was the first day of the heat wave.
Yes, first day of the heat wave. I was like, oh my God, how are you not here earlier? But okay, I'm not your manager. It doesn't matter. Well, because of the heat, they couldn't finish everything on Wednesday. Now, here's what I need you to know, the irony of this. Our system was dying. We found the problem and reported it.
Right.
The system was dying. We needed a new system. We've managed to make it happen. I'm trying not to think too hard about that part. but we had cold air consistently.
The house was comfortable, yeah.
Was it running efficiently as we moved in? Probably not.
No.
But we had cold air. Wednesday, after they left, they had to stop for the day. It was too damn hot.
The poor fellow was just like, we can't take it up there anymore.
He says, I've gotten woozy multiple times. I got to come down.
We have to stop. We'll come back in the morning.
Which was fine. We did not have a problem with that. The problem was, they had to leave the ductwork unfinished.
Yeah.
Which meant that the AC could not cool the house down beyond a certain point.
Right.
80 degrees. Which meant that the AC would have run nonstop for 16 to 18 hours between the time they left, the time they came back, like somewhere in there. And we were like, that can't be good for anything.
No.
So after getting new AC system and part of our new ductwork done, we had the hottest night we've had in this house since we moved in.
Right.
And nobody has been in a good mood.
No.
So they came in today, the day we're recording, Thursday the 16th. They finished it all up.
They did.
We're still in the heat wave. Anyways, keeping track. House started cooling down. I got a vent aimed right at my desk.
Yeah.
I'm the coolest I've ever been in this room. Now, here's the downside. Because anybody who's been around for a minute or watched old videos knows, or listened or whatever, this office is hot, and we wanted to put vents in the side of the office we actually record in.
Yeah.
Sort of record in between our office area and I can feel the cold air right now from the new vent. So we're like, okay, we're going to put some vents in this room. They could not put the vents in because there's no access.
There's no access to that part of the attic.
But they could give me a vent where the cold air literally blows in my face.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. This corner off to the side is the most comfortable.
Is the coolest it has ever been.
And then we had a bit of a scare, and we haven't gotten to check because we've been recording, so we can't check the thermostat, where it hit 78 because once they finished the ductwork, did what they needed to do, did our vent, they turned everything back on. They're like, okay, it's been warm in here. It should start cooling down. And it did. But then it got to 78 degrees in here.
And it wouldn't
go lower.
It wouldn't go any lower.
So we don't know. Is it the heat wave? Could be. Is it that there's not enough refrigerant in the AC? Could be. Is it a bad thermostat?
We don't know.
Could be. So we're not hot now like we were last night. But we have to go through the night and see what the thermostat does once the sun goes down to figure out, is it the heat wave or is there a problem? And I just keep thinking, look, when the dyeing system and the shitty ductwork were installed, I had cold air.
Right. Yeah. I know.
Now, I do think to myself, wait, could the system we had have handled this heat wave? I honestly don't know.
I know.
Honestly don't know. We'll never know. It's gone now.
I mean, this could have been the straw that broke the camel's back at the same time, yeah.
But also, I just keep thinking, but the shitty system still gave me cold air.
Yeah.
And I haven't had that much cold air with this new system yet.
But one of the things that we noticed with the old system, especially after we discovered what we discovered when we did, we kept having, over time, it was a gradual thing, and it didn't really register until it did. We kept having to drop the thermostat a degree or two.
Get to the same. It's funny because people talk to us, they're like, oh my God, my electric bill with this Florida heat is like, and they've been raising rates and stuff, $500. Well, and we're like, no, we don't pay that much. And then I realized, I said, because you and I were like, do we just have a really well insulated house? And we kind of do. It was a benefit of when we bought this place. There was like, wait. We don't put our thermostat to 70 or 72 like a lot of people do.
Right.
We keep it at like 75, 76. That's comfortable to us.
Right.
I want it a little bit lower when we go to bed because, man, the perimenopause is real. This is an internal combustion engine.
The torch over here.
I am the heater. If you are cold, just put your hands up near me and my body heat will warm you. So I like it a little, but we don't keep, I mean, I don't want it at 72 and I'm perpetually warm.
Right.
So like we've been fortunate, but we've also tried to been able to make choices where we've kept our electric bill in check, but then we just found out that they're about to like seriously raise rates around here. So it's like, I said, you know what? We probably won't actually see a difference in our electric bill because of the rate hike, but it'll be the same, which means we won't see the rate hike.
Right.
But we have to get it to where it's not running 24/7 first.
Yeah.
But that could be, like you said, that could be the heat wave.
Right.
And this heat wave is no joke. And I know there are people who do not have central heat and air, or who are not in a position where they could sign their life away to get a whole new unit. Like, I am grateful that we could do it no matter how stressful it is, because I might be a Florida girl, but I was not built for this heat.
No, we hit 113
and it's
degrees.
Dangerous. It's dangerous.
We hit
it's
113
like
degrees, which is this time of the year even for us here in Florida. That is way out of line.
Those temperatures. That's August weather normally.
Well, even then in August, we brush 100.
Well, the actual temperature, but then the
Yeah.
feels like temperature. But it's. I was in our Discord. It's through our Patreon for somebody. We'll usually ask. With Discord, you gotta be a part of our Patreon for that. But I was in the Discord today, the day we're recording, and I think it was Silent Wing. Shout out to Silent Wing. Hi, up in Canada. They got into like, I don't know if it was their heat index or what, but it was like 100 and something. I'm like, that's Canada. What the hell?
Yep.
Canada's supposed to be like a bastion of where do I go to like cool off, not have yourself a Florida summer.
So through all this work that we've been having done, Onyx had gone into deep hiding.
Yes.
She was nowhere to be seen until they all left and came out for dinner. Ella, she pretty much just carried on business as usual, just hung out where she wanted to be and did what she wanted to do.
She's been spending a lot more time in both boys' rooms.
Yeah. And with having strange people coming in and out of the house, Lola, we put her in her crate. Just to be on the safe side, because so many people coming in and out of the house. Lola was not happy about that.
I call it her big girl bark.
Oh.
If you are comfortable with big dogs, you'll go, well, that's loud, but okay, it's a little, okay. The guy who came in and talked to us about the ductwork, he said, I am afraid of dogs. Yeah. He also said, one, he'd been bitten twice, and one of those times was on the job at
a customer's house,
who said to him, my dog's friendly. And I said, maybe their dog is friendly. I said, but that's also an animal, and it just doesn't take much for an animal to bite. But he got bitten on the job, and I was like, one, you do not have to worry. We have put her away.
Right.
Two, I know this will not help because you feel the way you feel, but her bark is bigger than anything. It's just her big girl bark. Her big girl bark is intimidating.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I was like, damn, girl.
You know, we know her as the 70-pound lap dog who likes to curl up in my lap and wants belly rubs and will take as many treats as you will give her. You know, when we take her for walks, her goal is to befriend every person on the street.
Which means when she doesn't like somebody, I pay attention to that.
Right. But yeah, we just felt it'd be best to, be on the safe side with so many different people in and out.
She could have gotten stressed and lashed out, and not meant to, like, not in a malicious, like, I'm out to, like, for blood kind of way. And what we do is when we put her in her crate, first of all, we bribe her with a treat.
Yeah.
I don't know why she's not losing weight. Anyway, and then we put, because we know it helps her calm down and go to sleep, we put a blanket over her crate so it's darker and she can't see everybody coming in and out.
Right.
I did not stop her from barking her full head off.
And yes, her big girl bark is make you stand up and take notice.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of her, but when that bark comes out of nowhere, and sometimes you can tell a tonal difference. I'm like, oh, she would not like whoever that is that she's actually barking at.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad she's in the crate. And, you know, we do it for her. We do it for ourselves. We do it for the people who come in our house. The few times we've had work people in, we put her away. Like, we just make it safe for everybody. I wouldn't want to take that chance. And also, I don't want to find out what she does when she's pissed and territorial. I'm not about that life.
Right.
I also, it's too late now, because of timing. If at any point you're like, haven't I heard these stories before? The Friday night live stream that's happening the day after this is being recorded, this will all be said again because people will ask us these questions. So we are story repeaters, but this time we're also time travelers. The Kinkery, we're having a sale on the stickers that are over at the Kinkery, thekinkery.com. That's well and good. And it's a clearance sale. We're selling out the inventory we've got. We're going to do different things with the stickers. We're going to remake them, like stuff. But that is not in the midst of all this. We're having a sale, and I'm trying to sell stickers, and something goes wrong with the site. Only for the things that are on sale that we're trying to get people to buy. And it's like the middle of the night, and I'm messaging the guy who handles the tech stuff for us. God, I love Michael. Yeah. And I'm like, there's this problem, and I did these troubleshooting things, and also, can you fix it? And at the same time, I was like, it's hot as fuck. We got to go get groceries. There's a kid going, Mom, I've got this thing I have to do for my appointment tomorrow. And there's this other kid going, Mom, I'm going to this thing. And I'm like, also, can somebody make my site work? I was like, this... And I took on some extra writing because summer is slow for us in terms of like the shop and stuff going on, which is fine. We expected it this year because now we know from last year. So it's like, okay, it's slow, so I can take on more writing. And I agreed to do a whole bunch of writing, and then I procrastinated on some writing that was due this week. And then it was harder than I thought it would be. And so while they're, oh God, y'all. So if you do not know, I write about sex outside of just like talking about Power Exchange. I'm a freelance writer on top of it all. So today I've got a deadline, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna be late getting this article in. And there's men tramping around my fucking attic. And then there are two men trying to put a hole in my ceiling to give me cold air, and I'm forever grateful for them. But they are standing there and making pleasant small talk with me about this vent that they're putting in, and on my screen, and my screen is 21 inches, it's like huge, it's the top cum lubes. And I'm writing in what feel like larger than life letters the benefits of cum lube. That is lube that looks like semen, if you're wondering. It's like, this is... And I'm also thinking, oh my God, I've got this thing to do and that thing to do. This is going to be late. What if this is late? I don't miss deadlines. What the hell? While also making pleasant small talk. Because you know what? I was going to make pleasant small talk with the people who gave me cold air. You know, they're my new heroes. It's fine.
Right.
Oh Lord. It's been a weird week.
It has.
If I'm thinking for Friday night, again, sorry for anybody who's like, Friday night when? June 17th. That's in the past for some of you. I think maybe there needs to be an adult beverage.
Possibly. Yeah.
A few ciders. I mean, that would be crazy. We don't do shots, although. Could you imagine me answering BDSM questions while inebriated? Whoo! Whew, I can't imagine it. Mm-mm. So it's been a wild one. Every time I think, oh, we've gotten through a thing, it will calm down. Life goes, stop saying that, okay? Because I see this as a challenge now. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what life is gonna bring next. I'm grateful we have cold air in the middle of a heat wave. I'm glad we could sign our life away to have cold air.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
so that's been us past few weeks.
That's been us. And in the middle of it, we didn't. Oh, and I also have had to learn a new video editing software, which has a ton of really cool features. And it's going to take me a while to get good at even the basics, but it's completely different from what I was using before.
Sure.
And so it stresses me out.
Yeah. Yeah, we were
There
never
are tutorials,
able...
I'm watching them.
We were never able to get her iMovie working.
No, and it's freaking native to my Mac.
Right.
We did all of the troubleshooting.
We did all...
Everything.
I went to the Mac website, and we stepped through every process from updating the computer to, in Mac you have a process called clearing the NVRAM, and a whole bunch of other things.
Like it was step by step. It was hours.
Step by step process.
Not working.
And never able to get it working. So I don't know.
No, so I'm using one that the 16-year-old recommended, but he loves making videos, or he did at one point. So I actually trust his judgment. And he went, "Yes, Mom, you're capable of learning this one." It's called HitFilm 4 Express. It's got so many cool features. If I can learn how to use them, maybe my video game will improve. I mean, I can't speak for the content, but maybe the jump cuts will be better.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been going on at the same time. So if anybody's like, where the fuck have the videos been, for video watchers, not YouTube listeners? No, podcast listeners. YouTube listeners? What are words? You know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm also learning a brand new software in the middle of it. So, which stresses me out a lot because this is not a natural skill I possess. I have to work at this.
Right.
And I'm also a recovering perfectionist, so I hate being bad at stuff. It's a bunch of stuff because that's life. And I'm starting to become resigned to... There are no dull moments for us.
No.
I'm just glad I'm going through it with you and not anybody else.
I hear you.
So on that,
I think we probably should go.
You still have to do your part on this.
I still have to edit this. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being with us. I hope we, in line with our topic, I hope we bring something to y'all's table.
Yes. Yes, we try to.
We try our best to do that. So I hope we, give something to y'all. And on that note, I think we can say goodbye.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.